Hey everybody, Andy here, helping you build a career you love. Today we're talking about a transition in your career because we're going to be talking about resigning. Everything you need to know. If you're here with me live, get in the chat, say hi. Let me know who you are, where you're from, what you do, what you need. Put some question marks in front of your questions. And if you're watching me on the recording, great to have you too. Resignations. Just want to make sure everything is working here. Resignations. If you don't even like your company and you're going to leave, it's uncomfortable. It really is, right? And if you do enjoy the people you work with, it's gut-wrenching. And there's so many things you need to do. It's not about slipping them a piece of paper and saying, hey, I'm out of here. There's a lot of different things that you need to do and not do. And it's easy to screw this up. And I actually have a short video on the YouTube channel that's quite popular about how to resign with class. And it's a short video with a couple of quick tips. Today's going to be the full Monty, where I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know, how you need to think about resigning, how to do it effectively, and also what to do after you resign. So I'm unlocking the whole playbook. I do have a sample resignation letter, a template that you are welcome to grab there in the chat if you're here, or if you're watching on the recording, you can get it in the description. That resignation, that sample letter, not to poo-poo my own stuff, that's the least important thing we're going to talk about today, because that's the easiest part, is putting the letter together, but I still want you to have the template. Now, you might be wondering, well, where am I coming at with this stuff? As an executive recruiter, I have personally had to handle more than 600 transitions, people leaving old companies, going to new companies. It's been small companies, medium-sized companies, large companies all over the world, people of all different ages, young in their career, midway, and later in their careers. I've seen it. What I'm about to give you works everywhere. And the one thing that I want you to think about too, I want you to remember this, I'll probably say it a few times. You do not resign for the employer. You resign for you. And this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong. On that video I mentioned, there's a lot of people chime in and say, Andy, well, my employer was so mean to me. I'm so happy I'm out of here. I'm not going to give them any notice. I'm just going to leave. And you know, that's what they say about forgiveness, right? It's like drinking the poison and expecting the other person to die. What you do when you leave stays on your record. We're going to talk about how it relates to background checks, references, other things. So you might be thinking, hey, good riddance, but this stuff is important, right? Don't you want to go out with some class? Don't you want to be above that, right? Don't you want to leave things in a better shape than you found them? Right? Don't you want to avoid anything that might surprise you when somebody does a background check? So I want to make sure that you know that. So let's get into the talk, because I have a number of cards here that I want to run through with you. There's 8 points plus the giveaway. I wanted to do this in 5, but there's 8. I mean, there's really 8 things you need to think about. And the first one, you probably don't give much thought to, but I want to talk about this one maybe the longest, is, okay, make sure you want to leave. Please make sure you want to leave. Okay, now, I'm assuming if you're watching the resignation video here or you're with me live, you're employed because you got to resign, because that's what you need to know how to do. Right, except that a lot of people are not, they think they want to leave, but they don't always know they want to leave. And I want to talk to you about what I would do to think this through, but I want to tell you a few stories, because I actually think that you'll be able to relate. Most of the time, people leave because, why? They think the grass is going to be greener. I want to show you something here really quick. I reached out to my community, the Mile Walk Academy community. This is the community platform. And we asked them a question about resigning and what they were facing and what some issues were. And if you look at what Doug said here about, I think a lot of people would be concerned because they think the grass is greener. And he talks about some coworkers that were leaving his organization only to discover that they were, they had it pretty good. And I want to help insulate you from doing something like this. And there was another woman who is in my job search coaching program. This came in about 30 hours ago, And Katie and I were going back and forth about her offers, and she then replied to me and said, it's an interesting story. Really, I followed your boot camp process, and I got 2 offers from companies and positions I thought I wanted to move, but over the course of the whole process, including making a list of the criteria I care about and grading everything, there's a process you need to go through that I want to spend just a quick couple of minutes on. I actually like my current employer the best. And she was measuring all of her options against a standard set of criteria. But the one issue that I think a lot of you face that you don't even know it is you have more options than you think. And I'm talking about before you even actually resign. I want to make sure that you actually want to resign. And I want to tell you a story because this is pretty common. And as an executive recruiter, there was this, I would reach out to this guy, Val, super guy, great salesperson. And anytime I had a senior sales position, I called him. Didn't matter if I talked to him last week or last year. I would pick up the phone. I would ring him up. It was always nice to get connected with him. We had a good relationship, and I always wanted to either run by what I had to see if he was interested or network with him or whatever. I called him up one day a number of years ago. He picked up the phone. He said, Andy, oh my God, you're telepathic. You're on my list. I was going to call you tomorrow. You're a mind reader. I said, why is that? He said, well, I really want to get out of where I am. I really don't like it here anymore. I said, well, you're in luck because I have something great that I think you're going to love. We kicked it back for a couple minutes, kibitzed. And after all that was out of the way, he said, all right, lay it on me. I told him, he said, that company sounds great. I've been eyeing them for a while. And I asked him, why are you wanting to leave? He said, I really don't like working with my boss. Okay, so far, so good, right? What was going through my head. But there's one question I always want you to ask yourself before you resign. I've asked every single job candidate this that I've interviewed, period, not even if I've actually helped them move out of their company, but just to talk to them on the phone and investigate if they were open to possibilities. Every single candidate got asked this question. I want you to ask yourself this question. Is there anything my current company could do to keep me? I asked Val, is there anything your company could do to keep you? Could do to keep you. Could, not would. Because naturally what he immediately said, which is what most people say, is, no, Andy, they don't usually give counteroffers, and I haven't really seen that happen, and I can't really think of anything right now. And he said, there's no amount of money that they could give me to make me stay here and work with this guy. And I said to him, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, is there anything they could do? Think creatively. Anything. Just, we're in Andy dreamland right now. I said, you don't like your boss. If they got rid of your boss, we just remove the problem. Would that make you stay? He said, well, they're not going to do that. I said, no, they could do that, right? They could do that. Now the motor's running. Then he said to me, if I didn't have to work for the guy, I said, is there a way that another unit you can go to? He said, well, I suppose if there's 12 sales reps or 13, I'm one of 13. He manages all of us for the U.S. And I suppose if maybe they gave me a territory or split the U.S. and I got to have some reps and I didn't have to work for him, that'd work. I'd stay. I said, okay, we're done talking for today because you generated $12 million last year. The next closest sales rep was half that number, 6. You think they're just going to let you walk out the door. So he said, well, Andy, aren't I going to get in trouble if I go and I talk to my boss's boss and ask? I said, no, not because I'm going to give you the Andy script to do that. So he went back the next day, talked to his boss's boss, and within 10 days, he wasn't reporting to that guy anymore. Just saved me probably what would have been 8 weeks of prepping him, debriefing him, interviewing, all that other stuff. And these are the kind of things where you always have more options than you think. You just don't investigate them, pursue them, or think creatively about them. So I need you to think these things through. Okay, so I'm on a little bit of soapbox here, but I need you to think about this stuff. And so what I want you to do is very simply, what are your requirements? Meaning, what do I want? I've talked at length about this in my premium programs and some videos on YouTube. I got a video out there on how to start your job search in the right place. You can check it out. That's what Katie was referring to. I went through and created my criteria. This is what I want. Then you need to take stock of what you have. Be really clear. I'm not just talking about the dollars, the cents, the vacation days, the 401k, the profit sharing plan and trust and all that other good stuff. I'm talking about everything you actually have. Who you get to work with. Do I get to work from home? Do I get to travel to places I like or never have to travel? Do I have a training stipend that I use? Right? Am I involved in committees and other things that I really like? What do you have? Make sure you are crystal clear. I have a video out there on this. And I also can help you assess through interview intervention if you want to grab the book deal or you want to check out my video on assessing your financial worth. That's a good one too. There's a great checklist there. And then the other thing is think about a counteroffer. And by counteroffer, I mean, would you accept one if they offered it? Right? So is there more money? Could more money solve your problem? If more money would solve your problem, it is better that you do not get into a counteroffer situation, and counteroffers are so important. I want to cover them right now, then wait until the end because we're on this subject. Val, the example, he would have gotten a counteroffer. A lot of people get counteroffers. Now, as an executive recruiter, the entire existence of MileWalk, nay, the last couple of years, I have run a survey out into the market that goes to HR people, recruiters, and job candidates. Okay, people that we know, people that we've worked for, other people that have gotten on our lists when I was a recruiter, primarily, not so much as a career coach. We haven't been running this in the last couple of years, but up until a few years ago, we ran these surveys and we would ask people how they got their job, how long they'd been there, if they ever got a counteroffer, if they accepted it, how long did they let. We had all kinds of questions, and I don't know if this would surprise you. 72% of people who actually accept a counteroffer are no longer with the company for whom they accepted it within 12 months. And 80% of the 72%, okay, I mean, think about this, didn't make it 6 months. Why? I'm gonna tell you. Okay, think about this number. This is all different kind of markets. It's all different kind of companies. What happens when you accept a counteroffer? Well, number one, in the biz, we say, congratulations, you're now an extortionist. And by counteroffer, here's what I mean. I went through an interview process. I got a job offer. I signed the offer. Signed it. Said I'll be there in 2 weeks. Went back to my company, tried to resign. Company said you can't go. You took a counteroffer, had to go back to the company and renege. Okay, that's what I mean. All right, now, I'm not talking about, hey, I'm thinking of leaving. That's not accepting a counteroffer because you threatened the company and they gave you more money. I'm saying you go to them and say, I'm out of here, I signed, I'm going. And they say you can't leave and you stay. Well, now, think about this. It's cheaper for me to give you 10 or 20 grand right now than try to replace you, right? And I'm not thinking I'm gonna give you 10 grand. I'm thinking let's say 12 to make it easy. Here's your 12,000. I'm not thinking 12, I'm thinking 1. Why? Because it'll take me a month to find your replacement while I still have you here, or 2 months, that's 2,000, or 3 months, that's 3,000. It's not gonna cost me 12, it's gonna cost me 2 or 3. So I can replace you on my own time. You got the scarlet letter, right, on your chest. They know you're a flight risk. Employers do not like to be fired. They take it personally, and it's cheaper for them to keep you at some rate, no matter what it is. And especially if they start making concessions and accommodations and you don't have to travel and you don't have to do the things that are required to actually do your job effectively, they don't think that way. And that's one of the big reasons. So they replace you on their own time. But another big reason is usually you weren't leaving because of the money. And then while their emotions went from in the toilet to high because they kept you, your emotions were high, then they're deflated, you stayed, then you were high, then they're gonna go low again because you're gonna recognize that you didn't stay for the right reason. You wanted to leave for a legitimate reason. You accepted a counteroffer, which was a Band-Aid, and now you realized it didn't matter. Okay, I need you to understand this. Yes, I'm sure one of you sitting out there of the 100 and some odd people or however many are here, has accepted a counteroffer and you made it longer. Right, there's still 28% of you that do. But do you want those odds? Do you want to operate under those conditions? Where'd they get the money, number one? And number two, guess what else went up? Their expectations of your performance. If I'm paying you more, you better deliver more. All right, all those are conditions of the post-counteroffer syndrome. So just be really careful. Point number one. All right, now point number two, what do you got to do? All right, here you go, really quick. You need a written resignation. I'm going to go through that in a second. Now, I don't care if you are doing this in person, if you are doing it over a Zoomer, or if you're doing it on the phone. Make sure that you have whatever files you need, whether that's physical files or electronic files, whatever is yours and personal to you, make sure you have control and possession of them. I realize sometimes people put personal documents and things of that nature on corporate drives. I realize you have a lot of work deliverables on the corporate drive, of course, that you might not be able to take, which you probably shouldn't be taking. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about your personal stuff. Any possessions, if you are in control of stuff at work, like you have things, the desk and the books and the whatever, make sure that you have this ready to roll because your planning in your contingency is for the worst case scenario, which is them walking you through the door. And then you want to anticipate their reactions. So meaning, are they going to be surprised? Is it likely that they're going to walk you to the door? Are they going to ask you a bunch of questions, which I'm going to go through here in a few minutes? So this is just the getting ready. Okay, and again, I've got the written resignation template. I already wrote it for you. All you literally need to do is put your damn company name in and one little item. Okay, so just make sure that you are ready. Now you're going to ask me, well, how much time should I give them? Well, before I do that, I want to wish you all a very happy day. I know this is a very, very difficult thing to do, so I brought my smiley face cup with my great Ralph Lauren tea. So if you're thinking about how much time you need to give, it depends, okay? I'm going to give you some rules of thumb. But no matter what I tell you, if you have an employment agreement that stipulates the exact number of days that you need to give them in notice, that's your number. It could be 3 months, it could be 30 days, it could be 15 days, it could be whatever. If you are in the US, and this is a if you're in the United States and you do not have any designation in your employment agreement, it is customarily known that 2 weeks is standard. It is. I don't care who you are. I know you think you're super important, but believe me, they're going to replace you super fast. So don't worry about it. Don't overthink it. Yes, you can massage that. Yes, you can go a third week if you want. Yes, they might kick you out after a week, but just at a minimum, give them 2 weeks. And then if you are elsewhere, in France, you got to give 90 days. I get it. Get whatever is appropriate. But if you are not sure and you live in the United States and there's nothing specified, 2 weeks is the default. Okay? It is. Go with it. Believe me, they can probably get by if you walked out the door right then. But don't do that. First thing is give them a proper notice. And what does 2 weeks mean? That means 2 full weeks, right? If you resign at 7 a.m. on Monday morning, although I'd rather you do it on Friday afternoon, then it means the following week and the following week in full kind of thing. All right? So just remember that. Now, what do I say and what do I do? Here's what I want you to do. I wrote this out for you in the download, but let's just cover it here for completeness. In the written letter, please accept my resignation, right? My last day will be, I'm happy to perform the knowledge transfer that's required for a smooth transition over the next 2 weeks. Thank you very much. That's it. This is it. It's the whole template. I wrote it all out for you, so don't worry about it. That's it. These are the do's. That's the written part, okay? Do not say in the letter or even verbally why you are leaving, no bad mouthing or where you're going. You don't owe them this, okay? Now, I understand. You're like, Andy, oh my God, he stood up in my wedding. Yeah, I understand. I get that. You can share a little more if you want. But I'm telling you, you're not required to give all this or explain yourself. What the template I gave you is what you should submit formally. Okay, submit formally. And you want to make sure that you are as quiet as possible on these other things. Just stay away. Part of going out with class is making sure that you put the written letter together. You're properly giving them the amount of time that is customary, and you're not doing these things. And you might be thinking, well, Andy, why do I have to do all of this stuff? Well, number one, like I said, the world is big, but the world is small, right? These people that you were working with at such and such a company, they move too. And there have been a number of times as an executive recruiter where we presented a candidate to one of our clients who then immediately noticed where the person worked, went over to somebody else who used to work there, and they said, "The guy was a jerk. He didn't give proper notice. He left without this or that, kind of left us in a lurch. Now you don't have a job interview," kind of thing. But forget that. You might be thinking, well, Andy, hang on, I'm moving to the other side of the planet. I'm not really worried. Well, most employers do background checks hand-to-hand from a corporate resource or contract a third-party firm to call your other employers as part of your background check. Did they work there? When did they leave? How did they leave? Now, employers can say anything they want, contrary to what you might think. Most of them are reluctant to do so. But can you imagine the HR person who then looks you up and looks and says, I don't see a resignation letter and I just see some notes from a boss who said this guy was a jerk? Right, that stuff follows you. Okay, so why not just go out with the class? This takes almost no time to put together. I wrote it for you. The least you can do is hand it to them. Right, kind of thing. Now, you're gonna say, well, hang on, they're gonna beg me to stay. Right? Of course they're gonna beg you to stay. Right? You're a great employee. They don't want to lose you. It's cheaper for them to keep you and replace you on their own time. Why didn't you tell me? Well, I didn't tell you because I was quietly looking. I don't know. I didn't think that was appropriate. Obviously, I didn't want anybody to know. I would have loved to, but just in case anything didn't work out, I didn't want to let it be known. I don't really care what you say. There, you don't owe them anything. Wait, can you stay longer? I know you think you're super needed, but you don't. You don't need to stay longer. You need to work faster to get your stuff tied up because you're going to be mentally checked out. Why do they want you to stay longer? They want to ease their burden. What else do they want to do? They want longer to try to persuade you to stay. All right? I'm gonna tell you something about length here in a minute. And then anything we can do to keep you, right? Is there anything we could do? What do you want? Do you want the corner office? You don't want to travel? You want more money? How about more vacation? We'll get you off that project. I'll move you from that boss. Every single one of those is going to crucify you in the short run. Okay, so just watch out. Just say, no, I've made my decision. This opportunity that I'm going to is really great for me. It's not about you. It's about the opportunity for me, right? It's not you, it's me, right? Kind of thing. All right. Now, you probably don't think to do this, but this eases the burden for many people, not just yourself, but for your future employer. After you formally resign, there are a couple more steps. You need to let the employer know, the new employer, that you have officially resigned. Why do you want to do this? I'm going to feel a hell of a lot better when you call me and you say, Andy, I'm so excited to come and work with you. I already resigned. Yes, they were a little bummed out, but they understood. I relax. You're going to come, right? It's done. The tough part is done because I know that these things happen. Recruiters know these things happen. HR people know these things happen. And hiring officials who hire a lot of people know these things happen. They will feel better. They will check the box. This goes for executive recruiters that you are working with as well. If you are working with an executive recruiter, you resign, you immediately call the executive recruiter and you say, everything went well. Yes, you can email the company too. That's fine. But make sure to communicate, it's done, and I'm done, and I held my ground, okay? This matters, because if there is any concern, if I have any whiff that there is a concern, I will not stop interviewing people until your butt is in the seat, okay? I don't care that you're coming in 3 weeks. If I feel that it's not all the way there, like I'm picking up signs, I'm still going to keep interviewing because I cannot be left in a lurch and I cannot stop what I'm doing and then not have you show up, which leads me to my next point, number 8. You might not think about this, but somebody who recruits at a high velocity, has placed a lot of people, have interacted with a lot of people, have coached a lot of people. The further away your start date is from the time you sign the new employment agreement, the less likely you show up for a number of reasons. Okay, what's the danger zone? 4 weeks. If you are outside the 4-week mark, you're on thin ice. Okay, let me tell you why. All right, here's what happens. I signed a contract tomorrow. It's Friday, right? Or maybe you're watching this on a Tuesday, whatever. Either way, I sign it. Now I resign, same day. I give my 2-week notice. I take a week off to wrap my head or push it in the sand or whatever. All right, then you show up. You're okay. If you start going out by 4 weeks, you go over the 4-week cliff, the odds you do not show up go up exponentially. These are hardcore stats talking. All right, now, how do you insulate yourself from this? Well, if you get into this issue and it's 4 weeks, what's happening? Why is it taking 4 weeks? Company wants you to stay longer, right? You're not sure you're hemming and hawing. Maybe you got other interviews going on, right? Well, I'm not going to wait an entire month for you not to show up, and then, right, I'm going to be at a loss, and my pipeline's going to go cold. So I'm going to keep interviewing, and if I can get somebody to start sooner, and I like that person just every bit as much as I like you, I'm going to take that person, and I'll see you later. All right, so what do? Number 1, you make sure you let them know, I've resigned, I'm coming. If you are in the 3-week zone or the 4-week zone, you make sure you say, can we have a touch point? Can I meet you for coffee, dinner, lunch, breakfast, a Zoom session, a martini? I don't care what you do. Just make sure you have touch points with them at minimum 1. Okay, if you are hitting into the 4-week stretch, 2 probably. If you're 2 weeks, it's just 2 weeks, I would probably have a checkpoint after the first week. Everything's fine. I'm still rolling. Everything looks good. I'll be there. You just don't know how frequently this stuff happens, where people don't show up or they take somebody else. What other video have I showed you out there where I talk a lot about this? How to get the job after being rejected. Why do I say I want you to go out with some class at the end of your rejection, once you're notified, and then follow up in 30 days? Because of this. This stuff happens a lot. The person doesn't show up, or they showed up and they crapped out, or a million other reasons. This is really important that people don't think about numbers 7 and 8. They really don't. Actually, a lot of times you don't even think about number 1. So I want to make sure that you do that, and I want to wrap it up with grab the sample resignation letter. I made this part easy for you. So let's just recap it real quick. Just make sure, just make sure, number 1, you go through the process. You make sure you know what you want. You make sure you know what you have. You make sure you've thought through if there's anything that they can do, and you're all set and good. Get ready, written resignation letter, pack that up. Make sure you think through, get your files, get your possessions, okay? Now, make sure you give them 2 weeks notice or whatever's appropriate. Don't go on my YouTube channel and put in comments there going, Annie, well, that's ridiculous. No, I'm telling you, that's what's standard. And if you live somewhere else or you sign something that says differently, just do that, okay? All right, number, what did I say? 4, say this. Please accept my resignation. My last day will be, I'll be happy to do the knowledge transfer. Thank you very much. What not to say. Don't talk about why you're leaving. No bad mouthing. Know where you're going. Do not let them pressure you. You do not need to succumb to that. Anticipate this. You do not need to answer these questions about, why didn't you tell me, or what can we do? Just stay away from all this stuff. Make sure you let them know after you officially resign. Make sure you let the new employer know, and make damn sure you have a checkpoint, a get-together. They see your face. They see you smiling. They know you're looking forward to it. Ask for homework. Ask for getting ready stuff. Do some work in advance. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and make sure to grab the template. All right, hey, while you're here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you like that, click the like button. Make sure to share it, because a lot of people need help. A lot of people resigning, right? There's a lot of transitions these days. All right, if you're watching me on the recording, I'll see you next week.